Hey there, everyone. Thanks for tuning in again. Woody Bendle here from Next Level Growth Strategies. I'm going to let you know right up front that this week's business tip is going to be the opposite of what you might expect. Now, if this is the first video of ours that you've caught, you might not yet know what to expect. But if you have seen any of our other videos in the past, and if you're familiar with Next Level Growth Strategies, you probably have a general expectation about our videos. And when you're building a business and building a brand, setting and meeting expectations is critical for success. But what if I were to tell you that sometimes it can be incredibly strategic and valuable to break from the norm and do something completely unexpected? Interested? Well, okay then, stick around because I know you are not going to want to miss out on this week's unexpected and unconventional tip. All right, welcome back everyone. And before we jump on in, if you're a fan of our videos, be sure to give us a like and go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss out on one of our weekly business tips. So back in the intro, you might recall that I said this week's business tip is going to be the opposite of what you might expect. Now, for one thing, you might have noticed that I'm wearing just a t-shirt instead of my usual dress shirt and jacket. You probably weren't expecting that. And another thing you might not expect is that this week's business tip is simply this: go opposite. Yep, you heard that right. Go opposite. Now, let me provide some context for what I'm talking about here. Very often in the business world, you'll hear people say things like, we need to jump on or take advantage of this trend. And often you'll hear stuff like that from some pretty high-ticket consulting firms. And heck, in the world of econometrics and in particular time series analysis, there is a well-known and useful saying which is, the trend is your friend. But sometimes the trend is not your friend. And in fact, some trends can mean a slow or even rapid death for your business. If jumping on a trend means that you're going to get lost in a sea of sameness and become the next Me Too, then it is definitely not your business's friend. One of the pillars for every successful brand and business is differentiation. Whether that be product differentiation, service differentiation, or experience differentiation, if you are wanting to accelerate your organization, you need to have a unique, compelling, and relevant proposition. And often, when there is mass adoption of prevailing trends within your category, this is precisely the moment you need to be thinking about going the opposite direction. I mean, you are not going to find any white space where everybody else is going. In fact, a good friend of mine and a very successful business owner has built all of his businesses and brands by zigging when others zag. And there are tons of great examples of this all over the place. If you're a runner, you might remember the minimalist running shoe trend from a number of years ago. As running shoes became bulkier and more constructed, Vibram bucked this trend and brought out their 5 fingers footwear. At first, this was super niche and only adopted by what would be called the innovators in Everett Rogers' diffusion of innovation curve. In time, however, this was picked up by the early adopters, and before long, all of the big running shoe brands were coming out with lines of running shoes to cater towards this new trend. And as this was happening, a new running shoe company emerged out of nowhere and made a huge name for themselves by going, yep, you guessed it, opposite. And a few years after being founded, the running shoe company Hoka was purchased for a pretty penny. Now, fast forward to today. All of the big brands are producing lines of running shoes that look like they were inspired by marshmallows being roasted over a campfire or the Michelin Man. Seems like another opportunity to begin looking in a different direction, if you ask me. Okay, so here's this week's business tip. In the world of business, there are tons of opportunities related to trends. In some cases, it's critical that you jump on a trend, and often the earlier the better. And sometimes your greatest opportunities lie in the opposite direction of the prevailing trends. Look, this is very simple. Your organization's future success depends on you continuing to provide your customers unique and differentiated value. This is how you stay relevant. And let me be really clear about this. Unique and differentiated is not business speak for, hey, look what our competitors are doing. We need to be doing that too. Now, I know you've never heard anything like that before, right? So just remember, The next time you're feeling the urge to jump on a trend, do yourself and your customers a huge favor. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what if we went opposite? So there you have it. That's this week's business tip for getting your organization to its next level of profitable growth by creating clarity, alignment, and consistency. Thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.